You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris, Craig, Scott, Brad and Mark. Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Good afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, fellow Fox fans. How are we? Ooh, squeaky bum time, but we stopped the rot. We got a win. Welcome along to the post-match show with myself and Brad. Julian can't join us today. He's out Christmas shopping, although the rumours are he might well be with Mrs. Twigger. But hey, I never said that. That came from another source. But we got the win, 2-1 against this lot. So how are we feeling? Did we get out of jail there? Were we lucky? I think it's going to be a lively discussion tonight because myself and Brad are already disagreeing in the pre-live chat that we have. So it could get a little bit interesting later on. But you are watching, like I say, the post-match show. It was Sheffield United 1, Leicester City 2, and you are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
Welcome along to those that are watching live. You can catch us in 3 places. You can catch us on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. And if you're going to watch us on there, please give that subscribe button a little click and follow us. We're on Periscope, Twitter. We're live on there as well. And, of course, we're live on YouTube, on Facebook in the Leicester Till I Die group. Can I ask, please, that if you are going to join in on Facebook, just give a little click to the StreamYard logo, and then it does bring you up as who you are, not just as Facebook user. And also in the Facebook, and I'm going to sort of try and post it here as well. I'm multitasking here, which for me is quite something, to be honest with you. I'm going to put the link there, and if you click on that link, it's on a separate link in the Facebook group. I've done it on a separate link. You can click on that, and you can actually come in live on camera and join in with the chat. And it was always good to see you. And if you are on catch up, which is obviously on YouTube, you can also, if you prefer to listen rather than look at us, and I don't blame you for that, Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and other podcast services. We are going to be on there about 30 minutes after the end of the chat, and you can catch us up. Well, what a performance. We've got Mark waiting here. We'll bring Mark in a bit. He's in the green room waiting to come in. Brad, let's bring Brad in now, my post-match chum. Yeah, I think we got out of jail. I mean, you know, we were playing a team, and we did say this just before, and you disagreed with me, but, you know, we were up against a team that, you know, had played 10, and I've got the stats here, lost 9, drew 1, had only scored 5, had conceded 17, had 1 point, and were bottom. And as good as we played, and we hit the post twice, I know all that, it took till the 90th minute for us to get a winner. And I still say we got out of jail free there.
Yeah, we did on perspective of when we scored, but so what? So what? How many Leicester fans, after the recent results we've had in the league and Europa League, would have bit your hand off to say, "I'll take it by a goal"? I mean, at the end of the day, I was thinking at 87 minutes, 88 minutes before Vardy scored, I was going to come on here painting a frustrated picture that we was undone by our own kryptonite. I mean, at the end of the day, just because it came in the 90th minute, and it always seems a lot harsher on the side. But Sheffield United, apart from that corner, I don't remember doing much. They gave the ball away. And then I think what happened is when the game got nearer the end and we kept pressing and kept trying, we got in their heads a little bit. They didn't know whether to stick or twist. And the commentators were very much the same. They were saying how good a point would be, but how precious would 3 points be. And in the end, they got none because they couldn't decide whether to defend the 1-1 or try and nip the winner. And they got caught in two minds, and we took advantage of it. It doesn't matter what minute it comes in. It doesn't matter which chance goes in, as long as we got the more chances that hit the back of the net like we did today. I'm just glad it happened.
Yeah, and I'm just going to give a quick mention. Not sure if that's Brett Ahern or Dale Twigger. Whoever it is, his wife says hello, so hello back to her. I'm sure she'll be having a good night tonight after that. But had we not scored that, and yes, it came in the 90th minute, and I'm happy we've won, don't get me wrong, etc., etc., but we would have been having a completely different conversation with completely different faces on had that not happened.
Yeah, but I think we'd been focusing more on the positives from the game. Like I said, it was painting a frustrated picture for me until the goal. But I would have been coming on here just saying, I'll get to that in a minute when you bring that point up. But I was just thinking to myself before that happened, I thought, there's positives in this. We were attacking, we were playing a side with no wins. Let's remember, it's easy to say, they had no wins and no points, but they've now got 10 losses. We've just made sure of that. We've just added to that. Let's get down the bag. And let's remember, even Derby County won in the season. They got 11 points. So a team wins at some point and gets results. And we were in that prime form to take a point off us. And in the end, I think deservedly, we got the win. So, yeah, we can't talk about something that hasn't happened. We didn't get a draw. We got 3 points.
Yeah, we're going off a completely different angle here with Dale or Brett. She can be whoever she wants me to be. Message me afterwards, and we'll have a separate chat about that, Brett or Dale. Yeah. We won't come on to that. I've got a couple waiting in the green room, so let's bring Mark in first of all. Good evening, Mark.
How you doing? All right.
Howdy, Mark.
All right, Brad.
Perez, not a bad game in fairness. Got a goal.
No, Perez done well, actually. He's probably second for me as man of the match. Did really well, took his opportunity when he got his opportunity in the team. He nice movement in and around that, that number 10 role. And that's where he can play, do his things. And he can find a killer ball as well. I thought he played really well. Mendy was my man of the match.
One of his best performances I've seen in the Leicester shirt. Surprised, and I don't know if you were, but I was surprised when he went off for Inacho.
When Inacho come on, I thought, oh, bloody hell, we're blowing it now.
Well, let's. I think it's David here. We've got. Good evening, is it David?
Yeah, Dave. Yeah.
Hello, David. How are you doing, mate?
All right, mate.
What did you think of the performance this afternoon?
Well, I was sitting there grumping to myself, thinking, "What are we doing?" But yeah, 3 points is 3 points. I don't know. I know Brendan likes to play this way, but I really hate the sideways and back passing all the time. We've got a guy who can outstrip any defence, and yet, what did he have? A couple of chances today.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't have liked to have been the corner flag, though.
Yeah, not seen that happen before for a long time.
No. He meant that, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get you three guys while I've got you. Let me get your thought on this because I have a feeling that I might be shot down. But at 1-1, 85th minute, my mind was wandering. The game wasn't exactly, it was on, but I was sort of losing a little bit of not interest in it, but attention. And I came up with this. And I thought, this is a performance that takes me back a little bit. What has happened to that? When Brendan first came in, that free attacking, and I know we're not going to get 9-0 against like we did against Southampton every week. But let's ask Brad first of all. Did it look familiar to you?
It did, but again, you sidestep the point. It's easy to say that it's sideways and it's defensive football. If you've got to put Christian Fuchs in your starting 11, it just shows you how drastically, on a constant basis, should I say, not that Fuchs is a bad player for games here and there, but on a constant basis, like he has for the opening 11 games. Well, I think that's now 17 games this season we've played, if you include Europa League and Cups. He's played the majority of them. If you've got to still start with him coming into the Christmas period, and despite how well he's done in that position, obviously you're feeling more comfortable with Ndidi over Mendy. If you've got to start them sort of players ahead of players you prefer to see in there, then you've got to take it for what it is. Did Brendan really want to play 5 at the back today? Maybe not. I don't think there's certain players on there that would not have been started if we had a fully fit 25 players to pick from. But he has to go with what he's going to. Now, Fofana is brilliant, looked brilliant today, looked more composed than what he has done in previous games, but he's still young and learning. So get them experienced heads in there with him. Now, Soyuncu's injured again. We don't know how long for. I haven't heard any news myself as anyone else, any of the other guys do. But we haven't got
a couple of weeks he's out, I do believe.
Yeah, we haven't got our preferred pairing if we're going to go back to a back line of 4. And we haven't got our perfect defence in midfield. So he's got to do with what he's got, and he's got to make them work in a way that works together. And today we were a lot better going forward, playing the same formation.
I agree totally with what you're saying there, and we've said this before. I think the likes of Fuchs, and it's great that we've got somebody like him that we can rely on. But he's played more in, as I say, this season than he's played in the previous 2 seasons altogether. Mark, were you surprised at who was in and who was out at the starting lineup?
Not really. What happened to Pereira, by the way? Why weren't he there?
Let me just bring this up again. He wasn't even in the starting, or even in the subs bench, was he there?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Has he had another niggle, or?
I think there was reports that at half time Brendan was hoping to give him to 60 minutes, and something tweaked with Pereira. So they took him off at half time as a precaution. I think they didn't want to give him an extra game. They wanted to rest him. He'll probably play Thursday night.
Okay, that's fair enough.
That was the voice of what I heard.
For me,
anyway.
I think the formation that he's going for, I think that's what he wants to go with moving forward. And I think he's looking forward to, or he's hoping that he can get Soyuncu, Evans and Fofana at the back. And I think he'll then play Pereira and Castagna as the 2 wing backs, which gives us a better option. I think that's what he's got in his mind. And I think that's why he's not deviating from the 5-2, whatever he's playing, because he wants the team to be playing that way. With regards to the Pure comment, I think the reason I think that he's playing the way he is, so the formations that he's giving, is because we're up there. It's because we're up there and we've got a chance of getting top 4. I think that's why it is. I think if we were middle of the table team, we would still see us attacking and going for games a bit more than what we are doing now. And I think he's getting the lads playing like they're playing. For the simple fact is, we've got a chance of top 4, and he doesn't want to blow anything. And I think that's why. And sometimes it's not necessarily the way to do things, because it's so frustrating. Because when you watch Leicester play, when they're drawing or they're losing, and then they go for it towards the end of a game, they look fantastic. And you think, why the bloody hell don't you do this from the start? But I think that's the reason why he's playing like he is. And I think looking into the future, I think he wants that back 3 of Soyuncu, Evans and Fofana.
David, you did. I don't know if you watched the sort of show, the game midweek against Zoira. Mark will disagree here, but we thought Under had a great game. Surprised he wasn't starting? He didn't even get on, did he?
I think we were muscled out a bit today. I think we were a bit lightweight. That they were pushing it about a bit and taking no prisoners, and I think that was the difference when they came back in the second half. I think he'd have struggled against those defenders. I think he goes down a bit too soon, a bit like Mahrez the first season, if you remember. I mean, he was always on the floor. I think we need an enforcer in midfield, and I don't think we've got one. But you're right. When we start playing, when we start going forward, we look brilliant. And it's easy football, isn't it? Playing across the back against a team like Sheffield, it's easy because they're not going to come at you really. And when they started doing it, Fuchsy got into trouble once, didn't he? And we were struggling a little bit. But we do need we've always had an enforcer in midfield, haven't we? Albeit someone like Lennon or, dare I say it, Savage. We need somebody.
I think since Morgan's sort of no longer a starter, we haven't really got anybody anywhere on the pitch of that ilk, I don't think. Let's possibly Schmeichel in goal, but he can't really come out and do that. But Brad, I mean, it was a great start for that first 10, 15 minutes. My God, I thought it was going to be another sort of 5 or 6-0.
Yeah, it was a great start. I think it was probably 40 minutes worth of domination by Leicester and kryptonite from our own set pieces. To go with David's point, though, I'd have to agree. I don't think we've got a maestro, but I think I know I can solve that issue. If Brendan Rodgers is ever watching YouTube for whatever reason and he wants to hear my opinions, I think you want to take Maddison off set pieces. Let him focus on his midfield role because he can turn a defender or two when they close him out. He can get out of tight spaces, and he's passed today for the goal that won us the game with the two shining glimpses of his performance because his crossing's pathetic. And that's why I gave Albrighton man of the match, because the guy who put in a cross, some that were so good and dangerous that the players weren't expecting it because they're used to it in the first man. Let Maddison concentrate on controlling that midfield, and we might just find that we have a maestro. We've just been using him wrong. That's just where I go on that one. But the first half, we were our makers of our own downfall, and very unlucky, in my opinion, to come in 1-1. We should have been at least 2 goals to the good at that point.
I think we've conceded more goals from set pieces and scored fewest goals from set pieces in the Premier League. It was nice, Mark, just to bring you back in here. If I can do this. Our first free kick, we actually got it past the first man, and I thought, well, maybe we've been working on it. Second free kick, back to the old days. Couldn't get it in that box at all. It is a problem we're having, isn't it, with our set pieces?
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of an issue. Defending them, taking them. It is a real. I don't know what Maddison's so frustrating today. He seems to get on all the free kicks, all the corners, and like you say, he can barely get past the first man. It looks like he's so weak with what he does. I'd have Albrighton taking the corners. I'd have Albrighton taking the free kicks because that boy can swing them in, and he always has to. He never lets down. But I think more importantly for us is the defending of it. I don't know whether they need to go back to a man-to-man, but they're playing zonal at the minute, and it just ain't working.
I think
this is not new, though, Chris, is it? This is not new. I mean, we've always had a problem like that. And I blame
I was just going to say then, under the O'Neill days, that was one of our strengths. And I think it's very easy as football fans, and I sit here and I look at that performance today and go, what happened to the counter-attacking football, the exciting football we used to play? What happened to the O'Neill days of, it was our strength, was our sort of, set pieces. I suppose football does move on, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but I remember some pretty poor performances when Martin was in charge as well. Some very frustrating performances, negative football. But yeah, I mean, he was successful, top 10 finishes. But I just think defensively, we've always had that problem, even with Wes Morgan playing. And as an ex-keeper, you've got to come out and claim that ball 6 yards and 7 yards maybe. And I know they don't have defenders on the line anymore, so that makes it more awkward. But you've got to control that area. It's got to be yours because, we had get a big guy up against you and you finished. And it happens, as you say, too often.
Yeah, well, just thanks for that, David. I'm just going to bring some comments in now that have been building up and have a look. This one we did mention earlier. Inacho just isn't good enough. Chance after chance, first shocking, movement shocking. I think when you look at the fact that Perez had a better game than Inacho, it's like, my God, yes. I was so happy when we bought him, but I'm just wondering what's going to happen with him. We've got Gladunder got a rest today. Well,
It wasn't a rest.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I would have still liked to have seen him on from the start. I mean, I just don't know what the guy's got to do to get a start in the Premier League. To be totally honest with you, another
Score a
Facebook
goal.
user weathered and probably score a goal. Yes, I wouldn't argue that. Although
to get assist.
He did come close against Sawyer, and he has had, as Brad said, there a couple of good assists. Weathered and brittle corner flag cost us a yellow.
I thought the referee was dreadful today, Chris. Really bad performance. I mean, you booked Vardy for that, and the guy in the first half, he should have gone.
He should have gone. He should have gone.
Yeah, to say he's not giving him another yellow because he's already had one is crazy.
That's like saying you're not going to get another penalty because you already had one. It's a foul, a child's card, a penalty, a penalty.
Yeah.
Right in there, who's just commented. We know he's a Spurs fan. He was actually going to be put. I did actually put him on Perez watch, so I don't know if he's going to come in and give us an unbiased view of how Perez did today. Brookline G, good evening. Who will be the first to say something nice about? Oh yes, we actually did, Brookline. We started right at the start saying he's had probably one of his best game for a long time for us today. It has been the only game. That is true. Let's have a look here what we've got here. Luke, good evening, Luke. How the hell are you? Hope you're well. Let him focus on his main game of opening up the opposition defenders like he did for the assist for Vardy's goal. I presume you're talking about Madison there. Lachlan, good evening, Lachlan, or probably good morning, because Lachlan's joining us all the way from Australia. It's nice to have you on board, Lachlan. Madison's probably taking set pieces still because of that good run he had in his first season. Scored 3 or 4 free kicks. I mean, we do know he is good. I mean, I can remember watching that Southampton one. He used to be brilliant at it. We must get a central defender in January. Will he be going back for Tarkowski? I have a feeling Tarkowski isn't signing a new contract. We might do. Good evening, Max. I hope you're having a lot of wind up with your Sheffield United fans, brothers down there in Bristol. Under needs more game time. He's still feeling his way. He's got more to offer than an impact sub. I think he definitely has. Yes, indeed. So, Brad. Brad. Sorry, come back. I pressed the wrong button there, Brad, and I nearly lost you. Brad, half time 1-1. Was that a fair reflection? I don't think it was, because like I say, I think we were all over them at half time, all up to the first half.
What was it, Eck? Was it, Eck, a reflection on the first half? That was the most dominant performance I think we've done in the first half, where we just haven't taken the chances. We created a lot. We were a lot faster going forward, and then kryptonite away. We gave away a corner. I actually got a look in on the Sheffield United dressing room before kickoff, and he put a load of formations, and he couldn't decide, Chris Wilder, on the best way to attack Leicester. He crossed out 4-3-3, 4-4-1, and in the end he just wrote on the board of tactics, get a corner, because it's the best way to beat us. It's the best way to bloody beat us. All right, granted, they didn't beat us, but you get my point. It's the best way to score past us.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I know you're not one for stats, Brad, but we had 73% possession in that first half, and it was so frustrating, and that sort of you're looking and. We say that the bar, the post saved them a couple of times, but second half, surprise, no changes in the. I'm going to bring Mark in now for this one. Surprise, no changes at half time, Mark. Would you have made them then? Brendan held off till sort of the 67th minute to make any changes.
No, I'd have left it how it was. I think we spoke at half time and I was quite happy. I think they scored a goal from a set piece, but that's pretty much all they did. And we were plugging away. We'd already hit the post at that point. I think we hit the post in the first half, didn't we, through Vardy? And we were playing well. So no, I wouldn't have changed it. I was quite expecting the same side to come out. I was expecting him to give it, another 15, 20 minutes. If it was still at 1-1, then but no surprises for me, Chris. I was expecting the same team to come out. I don't get the love in.
We didn't quite have the same intensity at the start of that second half that we'd had in the first half. It kind of almost that famous thing that the halftime break interrupted how well we were playing.
No, we didn't, but I think that's more credit to Sheffield United, to be honest. I think Wilder must have got into him a little bit and said, look, there's a chance here for us, etc., etc. And they started to put their foot in a bit more. They were a bit more aggressive with us in the second half. So it was harder for us to impose ourselves on the second half. So, yeah, he should have made changes a little bit earlier. I wasn't expecting him at half-time. And I certainly, I'm going to say it again, I don't see the love in with Under. And I was not surprised for him to be on the bench there. And I was not surprised for him to get onto the pitch.
I can say when we say loving with Under, I've got to sort of defend ourselves here. Before I do, though, talking of loving, if I don't bring this up, then I won't be able to go out on Christmas Day to see my daughters. So I'm going to say good evening to Heather, who is one of my twin girls. Thanks for joining us, Heather. Not the biggest football fan in the world, but nice to have you along and nice to have you commenting. I've done my bit there. I've done my proud dad bit there. With the Under situation, I think it was the fact that, not saying he's brilliant and he's not the new Mahrez, etc., but it was just the fact that, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's, he was the man of the match against Zoira. So not saying that he suddenly becomes the end, but on that I just thought he deserved a start today. But
I mean, with that, if somebody doing a little trick in a turn and going past two players and then shooting twice and missing twice gets you the man of the match, then we all must have been crap that day then.
Come on, Brad. Back me up here.
No, I will back you up because David as well, I guess today, who's joined us through the cast, he made a very good point. He just shows signs, I can't even say my word today, but I'm going to continue, of early stages of Mahrez. Look, the performance against Zoira was worthy of a draw at best, and we didn't get that in the end. We know that. We lost that game. But Mark is right. In a bad bunch, in a bad lacklustre performance, yes, Under got man of the match because he was the only one that tried. And you're saying, is he going to score a goal? Well, what's his job? His job's to cross the ball in and assist. The goals are a bonus. They come in collection. You've got to remember, look at all the other foreign imports that have come across the border from the Italian leagues and the French leagues and what have you, and have joined top teams. Did they instantly hit the ground running? There are fewer. They're a dime a dozen, mate. Not even Vardy did it in his first season. He didn't even really get the world of light until the back end of his first season in the Premiership. So don't go sitting there just automatically writing him off yet. Look, in 20 games' time, if he's still not done much and his assists are dried up, I'll back you, Mark. I'll say you're right that he's going to be a flop. But right now, he's in early stages. He is weak at the knees like a baby giraffe in the Premier League, and that's probably why he's playing in European football. That's no disrespect to the European opposition. That's just the standard of football out there and the physicality of the Premier League. Although Jack Grealish would probably roll around and show you that you don't need to get much you need to get touched much to get much in this game. But I just think he'll come good. He's one of them that looks a lot more promising than any of the other sods because Albrighton probably gets ahead of him on that right wing.
Let's just bring David in on that point then. Thanks for that, Brad. David, where's David gone? He was here a minute ago. And he's still there. No. Yeah, he's there somewhere. I mean, you look, who we say, like, being polite here, including myself in this, a more mature fan. And I don't know, in the past, you got players like, and you brought these players in, and they didn't see first team action for a season and a bit. I can remember a certain Kevin Keegan going from Scunthorpe to Liverpool, and it took him for that first season just the reserves. I know we haven't got the reserves anymore, but he never saw the first team. Here, here, and I know occasionally with likes of Fofana it's got to do, but are we expecting too much of these players too soon?
Yeah, I think we are, but then that's where we are now, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not struggling to get 40 points anymore. We're at a different end of the scale, and that's the big problem. Certainly for me, it's the problem. I'm thinking I'm expecting too much. And when it's like today, sideways passing, negative, I get frustrated. But if you listen to Vardy, was at the end of the game, he said they played to the plan to wear Sheffield down, pass it about, keep possession, and then they knew that gaps would open up. The fact they opened up in the 90th minute, thank goodness. But I think that's the way it goes. And going back to the under situation, Vardy, for the first season, I think, hardly got a kick and got booed, if I remember rightly.
I think he hardly played. I can remember that picture of him and Kane both substitutes bench,
Yeah. But it does take time, and certainly, I mean, it took Knockaert a bit of time to get into it. It took Mahrez time, and I think we, as Brad said, we've got to give him a little bit of leeway on that. And perhaps that's what Brendan's doing. He's not playing him in too many games. He could have got kicked out of it today, I think. If
you made a good point there, an excellent point, in fact, about because I didn't obviously as soon as the match finishes, I'm sort of on the website and Facebook, and I don't see all the post-match talk. But yes, we we're out there to try and wear them down, and it is, I suppose, with the way we used to play, we used to be a bit like a Mike Tyson. We used to be up and at them, sort of straight from the word go. But boxers don't always win the bouts. The heavyweight boxer don't always, or any boxer doesn't win the bouts in the first round. They do wear their opponent down. They do let them punch themselves out, and not necessarily exciting. We saw that against Arsenal. It wasn't the most exciting game, but he did the similar sort of thing there, and we got points. But what did you think of? I mean, the substitutions came in sort of the 68th minute, and Mendy, I think it was almost like for like, wasn't it? Mendy off Ndidi on. I didn't think Mendy had particularly had a bad game, and like the Perez swapping for Inacho, which did surprise me.
I'm not as. I mean, Inacho, he does your head in sometimes, doesn't he, with what he does? But then he can produce a little bit of magic when you're not expecting it. I think if you look in the game, there's probably only a couple of times where he had touches when you think he had no right to win that, and maybe he didn't mean it. I don't know, but it looked quite impressive. But it's just that little bit in front of goal. He's not a Vardy. He doesn't play like Vardy. We play a different game when he's on the pitch. I think he's a lazy striker. He doesn't chase down defenders, which is what Leicester have always done for the last 4 or 5 years. So we're never going to get that from him. And I'm not really sure. He plays deeper, doesn't he? So how can you can't play him through? I'm not really sure how he fits into it. The way
let's bring. Thanks for that, David. Let's bring Brad back in here. I mean, I was excited when we bought Inacho, but if you're going to bring Inacho on, you can't play him like we play a Vardy, can you? You've got to then adapt the team to the sort of style. And he came from Man City, and let's be honest with you, we've said this before, you, me, Mark, David, we could all score well if we were playing in that Man City side at that time. I thought he was coming good. I thought Rodgers had maybe got sort of something out of him that no other manager was able to. Has he had his chance now? Time for him to move on?
Well, it's a difficult one because David's made a quite a good point there. And if you roll back to when me, you, and a lot of others give Inacho man of the match in that performance in Europa League, and then Mark came on and swayed our minds to the correct call by saying he wasn't actually that impressive as he was. But the thing is, David made a point that maybe because we get so frustrated and it's so easy when you're in that position, being a striker, it's such a focused position because, that's where the goals are expected to come from and you're expected to deliver when you're on the pitch and score them, that maybe you do miss the odd thing that he does get right. And he's one that's very much confidence built of, and it seems to be taking just too long for his confidence and Brendan to help get his confidence up to when he can being effective in the game. I'm just going to just going to swallow my pride there a little bit when I make this statement. Give me a second. It's going to be hard. But maybe if you go 2 up front and play to his strengths like we did Perez today, we might get a better performance out of it. There, I've said it. All right. We played him in a number 10 star role, like I've said. And just before the pitchforks come out and the comments come my way, I always said he's not a right winger. He didn't play right wing today. He finally got a chance in his position, and he's given me a little bit more faith. It's only 10% of faith because I had 0. You can't go up that much on a 6.
Are we talking Perez or Inacho now?
Perez saying he actually played in an actual position where he wants to play. Maybe if we play more to his strengths, but like I said, you're not going to cater to his strengths when you've got a golden boot winner and a guy who scored 100 Premier League goals ahead of. You're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Where we'll see Inacho will be the season that Vardy's not there, and then that'll be his last season, and he'll either earn a new deal or he'll get told you're not good enough. That's where we'll see Inacho.
Ryan, who is your friend there, is loving Perez at the moment. Ryan was supposed to be. I thought Ryan might be coming on actually. If you look further back,
Spurs are playing. Spurs are playing. No chance he'd miss that.
Oh, Spurs playing. Oh God. Oh
yeah, they're 2-0 up against Arsenal.
Yeah. Are Spurs winning? Oh God, I hope not. Right, well, let's go. 2-0. Let's that's not bad for us, I suppose. But let's have a look at Alan Bennett, who on the website lcfc.com rates the team and manager's performance. And on this sort of stats, when you're looking at this here, and again, I know sort of Brad's not a huge stat fan, but just while I'm doing that, let me just bring everybody slowly back in. You know, you've got a possession rate there of 70% we had, 13 shots compared to their 4, 4 on target compared to their 1. Looking at that, you'd think this is going to be quite a high rating for everybody today. But then, and I know Sheffield United come at with a particular game plan, but if we want to be a top 4 side, we've got to be able to break teams like that down. And I know what David said about, wearing them out. We're not always going to have that 94th minute against Zoya to get an equaliser, 93rd minute against Sheffield United to get the winner. And that might be, when you look at what Alan's done here, it came and it went there. The manager, he gave 5. The team, he gave 6. And Tillemans was his man of the match. So let's go around you one by one, and let's start with David. What are your thoughts on those marks and your man of the match, David?
I was a bit harsh on the manager, I thought. I actually thought Albrighton had a good game. Tillemans is obviously class, but he's frustrating as well. And him and Maddison are the two that should be pushing forward. Those stats are interesting and obviously show or seem to show that we dominated. But I wonder how much of that stat is going sideways. It's a bit like the Ron Greenwood era for England. I wish we could go down there and see, how much was the back 3 or 4 or 5 just passing to each other. And I know that's how football is now, but I do think sometimes we need to take a chance going forward and just try and make something happen.
I agree. And I think you might have somebody agreeing with you on the Albrighton front in a second, David. David, we're coming towards the end, so I'm going to say thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We do several shows a week, as you know, and I'm going to be putting the code up, so feel free to pop in on anyone that you want to have a chat on.
Okay.
Unlike me, you seem to know what you're talking about.
No. We've been there a long time, Chris, haven't we? You take care.
Yeah, we have. That's why we've got no. Well, that's why I've got no hair. Yeah. Take care, mate. All the best.
Cheers, mate. See you soon. Bye.
Right. Thanks a lot to David for joining us there. Let's add Mark back in. And what did you think? 5 for the manager, 6 for the players. Tillemans, man of the match. I have a feeling you're not going to agree with that.
No, not at all. I thought the manager was 6, 7, maybe. I think he set up like Vardy said afterwards. They had a game plan and they stuck to it, and ultimately it paid off. My man of the match was Papi Mendy. I thought he was fantastic. If you watch the game back, I was watching intently, watching him, because I've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Papi Mendy. I didn't really like him, but I think he's come on leaps and bounds. And today I thought he played a blinder. If you ever get to watch it back, just keep your eye on Papi Mendy and see what he was doing. He was nicking balls. He was left. He was right. He really put a shift in today, and I thought he was unlucky to get took off.
Yeah, I'm going to say, do you not feel that he's one of those players that, I mean, for me, I'd forgotten Tielemans was even on the pitch until I heard his name mentioned midway through the first half. Mendy, I thought, I agree with you 100% there. I thought he was very unlucky to have come off. I think Mendy's been very unlucky with his time with us, as we know, with the injuries and what have you. And I think he's done a sterling job. As you know, we've had this conversation many times. And I think with that role that he plays, you don't hear him mention much. But I think that's, in some ways, it's a plus because he just gets on with the job. He doesn't, a bit like a Kante. Kante was never going to score a sort of, 90-yard scream or whatever. But he just got on with his job, and Mendy gives us that. I'm not saying he's the new Kante, but he does give us that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. His ball playing's a lot better. It seems to be a lot better as well. Whereas before he'd stick a foot in, but now he's moving with the ball. He's taking it forward a little bit, and he can pick a pass. I'm really, really impressed with him, and I was proper impressed with him today. He was my man of the match, and I think if we're going to use two holders, which Brendan seems to like to do, Papi Mendy and Ndidi would be a good little partnership there, and you can compare him to Kante today. Anyway, Mendy played like a Kante today. He was all over the shop, brilliant.
I mean, if my memory serves me right, we've given him a 1-year extension.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to get him signed up, haven't we? We've got to hold on to him.
Yeah, we have. And just going back to the Iheanacho thing, what we do with him. I think come January, I think he needs to go out on loan to a championship club. And if he starts, I totally agree with David and Brad. But when his performances are good, he thrives off that. So if we can get him into a club where he's regularly starting and scoring goals, then get him back, we might well see a different player. I think he needs a break, and I think he needs to go somewhere else for a period of time, get some gold, maybe championship, and then come back to us, and then we'll see where we're at with him.
And I think we've also, like we've said many, many times, if we are going to do that, we've got to make sure we play to his strengths. We can't bring him on and leave the team the same as it was set up for Vardy. But we have got a special coming up. I'm doing a special with Craig in a week, 10 days' time, and we're going to be looking at sort of who we need in the window. And I'm sure we're going to need a striker or two then. Mark, thanks for joining us. I know it was an extra one for you here. Give my best to that lovely son of yours again.
I will do, Chris. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Brad. See you later.
All the best, Mark. Take care, bud.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. And now, and then there was two. But you agreed with David. Albrighton, I think, was your shout. Wasn't he the man of the match?
Yeah, he was. He was my shout, and I think you could pick and choose between Mendy, because I have to agree with a lot of what Mark said. I know we've said it before, and you were spot on 100% what you said. You might not have heard him a lot on commentary, but that's a good thing, because it means he's not doing a lot wrong. If you're hearing a bloke in front of the defence happen to do a lot, and he's doing too much, he's making mistakes or whatever, and we've said it before in previous games gone by, he goes quietly about his business. And you could have said he was Kante. If you'd have showed me in a clip of Kante and Ndidi and Mendy and said, guess which one was which, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference with me, because I think it might have been the goal or the build up to the goal, or at least just before it. He had two defenders either side of him, and he's now at a stage in his career where he's developed in the injuries and whatnot. But maybe when he first got here, he kept falling on the floor a bit, and you can see the development with the limited game time he's had and with the injury frustrations he's had, how good of a player we actually have on our hands. Because he got the ball, he didn't panic, he looked for an option, and he just absolutely mugged two defenders off. He went in between and went, see you later, or I'm going forward then. No one's going to help me backwards, I'm going to go forward. And he can do it. He unlocked the defence again today, and again went quietly about his business. I think he was a very good shout. The only reason I went with Mark Albrighton is because he's not a natural right wing back. He was the main catalyst.
To be honest with you, he scares me when he plays that role, because
he does me.
His defending is absolutely awful, and we always seem to end up giving the penalty away. But we have to we have to play with what we've got at the moment, like you said,
Yeah.
right up, at the top.
And that was probably his best performance as a right wing back, all in all, because he was forward, he was aggressive getting forward, he never looked slow. And that was something I wanted to say about today's game. You notice when there was a set piece in games gone by when we probably looked a bit tired against Sawyer, as we've said, and whatnot, where we just looked a bit sluggish. Today it was, they were getting the ball, picking it up, they were throwing, they were making themselves available, they were getting the ball forward. It was an all-round better performance, and it was why you could probably... I don't know. I wouldn't have said Tielemans was up there. I agree with Mark. I think the ratings were harsh. I think you need to bump them up at least one each. I think that's a 6 for the manager. I don't think he got a lot wrong, and I think the players did well.
I think had we won that game as we probably should have done, 4 or 5, I think you automatically see those points going up. I mean, that way we were playing in those first 10, 15, when we went ahead 20 minutes. I'm like, I was thinking, like, this is the old Leicester back. And then I looked at it and I'm thinking, like, we've hit the post and they've got the equaliser straight away. Are we going to have one of those games that we regret, not taking the chances? And, and you've got to be honest with you, I think if Maddison's free kick, when it went sort of more closer to the corner flag than it did to the goal, when you got misses like that, you think, what the bloody hell? But when they're hitting the post, you got to say that's just, a lot of the time just unlucky.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think when you were talking to Dave, we're not always going to get a 90th minute winner. Yeah, but we're not. My argument back to that would have been, but we're not always going to hit the post twice in the same succession. They're going to go in. So it swings and roundabouts. And look, the result and how it looks always affects how some people think on the rating system. And the guy does it. The guy does it. He's terrific at what he does. He makes his ratings on the back of the full-time whistle. Yeah. And I think at that point, when we've just kind of realised we've nicked it, we've got a 2-1 win, and we feel it's a bit fortunate win. Realistically, it wasn't, because, we go live half an hour after the game to let everybody cool down, and so we're not making these stupid, rash comments like other shows do for other clubs. I'm not saying any Leicester ones, I'm just saying in general. We allow the fans to calm down and do it. Alan does it for you and for this this show right off the back. And I think probably his ratings come at the point where us as fans were going, whoa, got away with that. Brandon got something wrong. Players weren't all there, but we got it. And then when we think about it, we maybe give them an extra point. And that's why,
I think in fairness,
the ratings are what they are.
And we mentioned this the other day. That's Alan doing what I've requested him to do,
exactly,
so that I can get that up and we can talk about it now. Other than sort of him sort of doing it later for me. I want to make a point. I want to ask you a question here, because Martin O'Neill, when he came to Leicester, had it pushed down his throat over and over again how good the Bloomfield years were. Now, I don't know whether you're old enough to remember the Bloomfield years, but we used to play like Brazil, but win as much as the Shetland Isles. but we were a great team to watch. And that was the yardarm by which, that everybody, all Leicester managers and Leicester teams were judged. And he came in and said, just what the hell did they win? They won nothing, Are we now in? And I know and I'm going to hold my hands up. I fall into this category that I look back at when we won the Premier League, and we didn't have the possession, but my God, it was exciting to watch. We were forever pushing forward. None of this passing around at the back for 5 minutes till we get a breakthrough. It did well for us that one season. Are we sort of in danger of sort of having that as our sort of, remembrance and trying to sort of always build up to that when we should be looking at different ways?
Well, as fans, we always remember the best times, and probably the first couple of seasons you start supporting the club. You tend to have them memories of how football styles played. And when I was born and I started watching Leicester, it was all under O'Neill. I don't remember the Bloomfield era. I'll be honest with you.
Mate, thanks for that. I'm going to cut you off now.
Yeah.
You're baby. You're a baby.
Yeah, I am. I'm 30, but I'm still a child in the age of footballs for all that. But my point is, right, you've probably answered the question for me with your statement from Martin O'Neill. We all remember Leicester fans used to laugh and joke that we're boring Leicester. And I make this point, and I don't, and it still baffles me. And I get people that fair play if that's how you feel. But the question I asked a few fans, and one of my strongest connections, and I don't call it a second team because I don't like it. I've just got family connections to it. Right, is West Ham. And I remember one year they were dog awful, but they were scraping results. They were getting nicky draws, but they were batting down the hatches and nicking results. And I turned around to a lot of fans when we ended up beating them, and I said, "What would you rather do?" Because they were moaning at Sam Allardyce, right? Hoofball football, oh, hoofball football, hoofball football. Yeah, but you've won 1, drawn 3. You've not lost in 4. What's your problem with it? Oh, well, we're not playing fancy football. We're not playing fancy football, but you're getting points. O'Neill came in and the media quoted it after a certain bit of time. Leicester play a bit of boring football. But like Martin O'Neill said, when we play good football, we won sod all. In relevance, how many trips to Wembley? How many cup finals did we win playing good football? Playing boring football. We finished top half. We made UEFA Cup qualifications. We won trophies. We played.
I don't think we were that boring, though. I mean,
No, I know it was more than
Arsenal. I know what you say. I completely agree 100% with you. And I know, you can't. I remember that 3-3 against Arsenal. That was anything but boring. It was just the tag. I used to watch Wimbledon sometimes during those periods, and Wimbledon had that, hoof it up the field. Sometimes they played some quite nice football. Facebook user here has sort of said, best years with Jimmy Bloomfield. Yes,
But did we win anything? What did we win under him? Can you tell me?
Didn't. We had the likes of Keith Weller, we had the likes of Birch, we had Big Frank up, obviously up the top, and we had a good, and it was good to watch. But like you say, we didn't win anything, and I suppose I get frustrated because I want to win things, and I'm glad we've won. As sooner, I will come off after this and I'll sit down, I'll have a second beer and I'll sit down. I think I'll sooner win ugly, which we kind of did today and got away with it, than play really, really well and have got a draw. But at the time and in that post-match, and this is why they always say, when they talk to managers straight after the game, it's unfair. But, why I said right at the start, we got out of jail. We were lucky and what have you. We did play really, really well. It's just, I can say, I just want to do both. I want to play like Brazil, and win like Brazil as well. Why did Rodgers want to walk the ball? We need some intensity. We need to need the counter attack. Know when to break. It's
right.
I'll leave that with you, Brad.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
I'm Nick. This is a Facebook user, our most popular commenter on this channel. Whoever it is, thank you for your opinions. We completely changing the style. Let's. Are we trying to walk it in, or if we stop just going, give it to Morgan, give it to Mahrez, obviously he's not here anymore, but give it to a wide player, give it to Vardy. If we all remember, whatever you want to say about the controversies of sackings and whatever, right? We had to find another way because the struggle we had the season after we won the league, was teams had figured us out. We kind of, I remember this time in that season that we kind of stuttered to a few results, and then eventually kind of more momentum took us through it, and teams kept coming at us, knowing what we do and how we played, and lost their own heads. We got in their heads being where we were. We're not walking in. We're not an Arsenal of the end of Wenger's time where they try and pass it into the net, because it might seem like that because we're so used to the one dimension. Get the ball, give it to Vardy, I score the goal sort of thing. We don't play that now. We're trying to get everybody involved because he's trying to find a way that we can unlock defences, and we've got people in attacking positions. I mean, for me today, I was actually gutted that Justin tried to square it to Vardy and take the shot on, because he got himself in a position, and if he'd have smashed that in, we wouldn't have been. I mean, we wouldn't have been going about it. I mean, let's look at the last play of the game. 94 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was, when they had that corner, and I know why, obviously, because we scored and yellow cards, etc. if the referee hadn't have blown the whistle, indeed he probably would have shot from the halfway line and maybe trickled in for 3-1, and we'd have all been looking at it going, eventually we got the scoreline that matched the performance as it was. So it swings and roundabouts in the way we got it. What matters is we got it, and
The funny thing is as well, and again, you're too young to remember this, but the Liverpool of the old Liverpool, as in the Shankleys, the Paisleys, when they were the number one team in Europe, if you like, not just in England, that's how they played. They would, and you forget that, and I forget that, and I'm a fan, like, and we're all fans on here. None of us are experts, well, apart from Julian Watts when he comes on. We've got to bow to his superior knowledge, but we're fans, and we see things through blue tinted spectacles as fans, and we don't see, the bigger picture, which is why it's always nice to have Julian on. And I must have words with his wife about dragging him out for shopping today. That was totally unfair of her. But, Liverpool in those days, they would literally, and Arsenal in early days under Wenger did, they'd pass the ball around maybe 20, 25 passes, waiting for that killer pass, and then going on. And I think if you're doing that and then winning 2 or 3-0, you're looking at that and thinking, hey, it's like watching Brazil.
Well, yeah, and look, there's been points at this season. I mean, people say it as if we do it every time, and we all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and trying to expect a different result. There's been games this season. We all suddenly seem to have forgot the counter-attacking defensive display against Man City. It's just sometimes you've got to you're trying to second guess how they're going to line up against you. And today, Sheffield United looked nervous. Their position, the fact that they hadn't won was on their mind. They get the ball away. We got at them. We took the lead. We kryptonited ourselves by giving away a corner. And, whether it was the 96th minute or it was the 37th minute, we got the second goal. We got the win. And at the end of the day, sometimes you can play the same way as a manager does. Like, I think Mr. Bond there was making the comparison to. And sometimes a manager just tweaks something. It's done a little bit faster than Puel. The thing I'd see with Brendan when he tries to get the side to side, and yes, I'm one of them that when I see it go backwards, I find myself going, and now it's going back to Evans, which is frustrating. We all get frustrated. We all want to see flicky, fancy football, but sometimes there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place to do it.
It is, and just to take that point up there with Matthew, and good evening, Matthew. I just think, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, because that urgency. I can see what a couple of those comments were saying when you one down in the last 5 minutes, and we're still passing it about at the back. It is very, very frustrating. But if we hump it into the box, the chances are we haven't got any natural headers of the ball. We haven't got anybody that can get that ball, hold it up for somebody running on particularly well. In actually to a point, but he's not brilliant at it, but he can do it. But all we're going to do is put the ball into the goal. He's going to give the ball back to go again. He's going to waste 30 minutes, and we've lost possession. So it's one of those, like you say, looking back at things, it always looks sort of different.
Yeah, and sometimes you've got to begrudgingly drag a side like Sheffield United out, who are down, dogged, and in need of more than just a draw, despite the fact that they looked at today's game, and like I said, I think they lost the game when they couldn't decide whether to stick or twist on the point. Because as good as it looks on paper, getting a point against a top 6 side, which we are at this current stage, we're in the Europa League and we're in the top 4 now. We're back in there. As good as it looks on paper, their precarious position at the bottom, teams are starting to put points together and slowly get away from them. And then that played into our hands, and begrudgingly they pulled themselves out, and lo and behold, Vardy halfway line, say no more.
I'm going to cut it short now because we are coming up to the hour.
Yeah, I've noticed what we've thought too.
And it's sort of longer than probably we're looking at. I am going to end with this question for you and just bring this last graphic in, because you did make a score prediction, I believe, the other night, didn't you?
I believe so, yes.
And what was your score prediction?
Oh, I can't remember it. If you got the screenshot for it, I don't remember it now. I remember coming on and saying it, didn't I?
Well, you got. I think you said Sheffield United would get one.
Yeah.
I think you went 3-1. I think it was.
I did go 3-1.
I think you went 3-1. Now, far be it from me to gloat, because that's I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I don't gloat. I know, no, but I just like to sort of maybe I should bring these. These are the score predictions that we have up on LeicesterTillIDie.com. Ex-players and myself do this for every league game. We don't do it for the Europa Leagues. Steve Walsh, spot on there with 2-1. Steve Lynix, he was like with you 3-1. Marshy, big Ian there, he went 1-1. I think after the recent performances, I can see why he did that. And oh, look, at the bottom there, who is that? I do believe it is moi going 2-1. Now, as I say,
that's a typo. You've edited that. That's a 2-1 Sheffield United. I'll tell you. I did the Instagram. I know. I just typed it up for him. I did it right. You
go on the website and check it, mate.
I have mine on Instagram. You don't put me on Facebook with mine. Don't ask me mine. Start the little rebellion.
I very rarely bring that up, only when I get it. I think that is the first time this season I've actually got. I've predicted wins before, but I've never predicted dead on. So I just thought I would bring that up. But
well done, mate. Well done, Steve Walsh.
What can I say? I'm an esteemed company. But Brad, hey, we've got a little matter of Brighton next, isn't it? We've got all these bottom of the table teams, but hopefully this will give us sort of a bit of momentum now going forward. Sheffield United, there's nothing better. Somebody said on Facebook, there's nothing better than, if we'd have scored, if it had been 2-1 after 20 minutes and we'd have hung on, he wouldn't have got that feeling that, when that goal went in the 90th minute, I'm like, my laptop went on the floor and I was like, So we've got it's got to look good for Brighton, hasn't it?
It looks good for Thursday night. I'll talk about Brighton after that because I'd like us to pick that momentum up with topping the group.
Yes.
We used to score by set pieces only. This is Championship way, not flicking it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm trying to read that all in one and not out loud too much.
I think we're a lack of commas and full stops on somewhere. 100 passes and win. Liverpool, not the modern way. Counter is the Premiership. Not.
Everybody's got their opinion. If that's what they think, that's what they think. Facebook user.
This is what we love. We've all got opinions. They're like arseholes. We've all got one, and we're all entitled to it. Brad, hey, thanks very much, mate. Thanks for joining us as always.
Yeah, it's a pleasure as always, mate.
And I shall see you for the last Thursday evening for about a month after that. A win on top of the group would be nice, but I will see you Thursday night. I'm not even sure what the kickoff. I haven't even looked at that. It's been too hectic. But I will see you.
I think we're at home, so it's 8 o'clock. I believe it's a late one, isn't it? Yeah, it's our last late one.
So I'll see you with my cocoa about midnight then.
Yeah, I'll be in the sleeping bag, mate, on the sofa getting shouted at for being too loud.
Catch us all. Thanks so much, Brad. Take care, mate.
Yeah, mate. See you.
Cheers. Cheers. And thanks to everybody who's joined in today. Brad will be back with me, like I say, on Thursday. We will be there for the post-match show. It's about 30-40 minutes after kickoff. Allows me to update the Facebook and the website. And like Brad said there, gives us a chance to calm down, including me. Just a couple of things. Craig's just come in at the death here. Perez cemented his place against Brighton now. Couldn't argue with that at all. He had to my mind, one of his best games that I've seen for a while. I wish Perez did it every game, don't we all? And maybe that's something for Brendan to go away, get his notebook out and look at the fact that maybe he was played in more his natural position. But guys, I'm going to say thank you very much. If you want to watch this on catch up, it is on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. We are there, and we are also on, if you want to listen to us on podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, Anchor, and other podcasts are available. And, of course, we're all over the internet, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and, of course, Periscope, which is at Leicester TID. all I can say on that was I hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back, like I say, on Tuesday with Craig, who you just saw come up there, and we'll be looking ahead to the Brighton game. I'm sure Craig will have a lot to say on that one, and I want you all, please stay safe, take care. Thanks so much for joining in tonight. It's been great. Thanks to David for joining us as well. Mark, who came in on an extra program, nice to see him. It's been great when you all come on, and it's great when you all put your comments in. We absolutely love it. Hey, I'll see you on Tuesday night 7:30 for the preview show with Craig. Whatever you do, take care. Don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Shut up and sit down.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.